What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give my predictions for game week 25 in the Premier League. Starting off with a Friday night game, Brighton against Chelsea. These two sides just met in the FA Cup and Brighton won 2-1 and I think they're going to win 2-1 again. Lewis Dunk did get injured in that game. I think that's actually a positive for Brighton. Obviously I do hope that he comes back quickly, he's not serious, but he's not good enough for Brighton and Hove Albion's level anymore, if I'm going to be honest with you. Mazvifa could return, which is a big boost, and Chelsea don't really have a recognised centre forward. Both Guiu and Jackson are injured, and although Nkunku could play there, it's probably not his best position. Obviously Maresca's going to have to try and find a solution between him and Palmer and try and find a good dynamic between the two of them. But Chelsea have been really poor lately. They're in a really bad run of form. They did win against West Ham in the last league game, but they were very lucky in that one. They seem really easy to play against. They're too predictable. Maresca is so easy to figure out, and once he has been figured out, he just doesn't adapt. Colwill, also so mistake prone. He's so bad without Fofana next to him. He'll probably gift Brighton a goal, being an ex-player of theirs. Although Brighton are winless in the last 5 home league games, losing 2 of those, including the most recent one. But Chelsea themselves are winless in 4 away games, despite being quite good away from home throughout most of the season. But I'm hoping Brighton take it. Come on, you Seagulls. Leicester City against Arsenal. Arsenal are undergoing a really serious injury crisis in the forward area of the pitch. Kai Havertz and Gabriel Martinelli are now out injured. Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Jesus were obviously already out, and they're still out. Martinelli might come back in a month. Same with Saka, but the other two are probably out for the season. That means Arsenal don't have a centre forward at all that can play for the rest of the season. So Declan Rice, Mikel Merino, one of you are going to have to go up there. And out wide as well, not many options. Trossard is very hot and cold. When he's good, he is good, but there are a lot of games where he goes missing. And Ethan Nwaneri is probably their main right winger, and he's mainly a midfielder and a kid. Obviously Raheem Sterling's still available and he will have to play significantly more minutes, even though he is washed and way past it. However, the one team that you probably aren't too stressed about playing when you're in this sort of situation are Leicester City Football Club, because they are so bad at the back. They make so many mistakes. Ruud van Nistelrooy, I don't know how he's still in a job, to be honest with you. He's got them looking so much worse than Cooper did. They're pretty easy to play against. There are some moments where they look good with, going forward, but he refuses to play his best player for Kunde Buonanotte. And I think Arsenal are going to win 3-1. Leicester do still have the opportunity to survive because they do have a decent squad, but they are not going to do it if they still continue to employ Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's got to go if Leicester are going to survive. And Arsenal were handed a big boost in the title race after Everton got a 96th minute equaliser, or 98th minute equaliser I think it was actually, against Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. They fully deserved it, by the way. They were the better side and probably deserved to win the game. But Arsenal have to start capitalising on these sorts of results, because Liverpool have dropped points plenty of times throughout the season, but Arsenal are never there to take advantage of it. Aston Villa against Ipswich Town. These two sides drew 2-2 at Portman Road early in the season, but at Villa Park I think Villa do take it. I've gone 3-1. They've got much more squad depth now with the additions of Rashford and Asensio, although I don't think either of them are great players. Extra bodies, especially in the situation that Aston Villa are in, where they don't have a thick enough squad, especially losing John Duran. He's a huge loss, by the way. I think he's better than Watkins. Don't really know why they sold him instead of Ollie, but it is what it is. Watkins could miss a game through injury, but like I said, Rashford should be good enough to beat Ipswich Town, if I'm going to be real, even though I don't rate him that highly. Fulham against Nottingham Forest. Now, Fulham did win the game at the City Ground early in the season, although they were extremely lucky because their penalty was kind of soft, and Forest had 2 penalty shouts that were much more obvious than the penalty that Fulham were given, that for some reason they weren't given. And it just doesn't really make any sense. But Fulham are also a team that are better on the road than they are at home, and Nottingham Forest are sort of the same. I think the way this game is going to go is quite easy to predict. Fulham will have a lot of the ball, Forest will defend deep. Fulham won't be able to take their chances. Forest will score a couple counter-attacks and win 2-0. Obviously Fulham could get the first goal in the first 5 minutes and then they might go on to win the game, but Forest just are set up so well, especially away from home. They know exactly what they're doing. They won 7-0 in the last league game, although they did really struggle against League One Exeter City, which is pretty embarrassing if I'm honest. I think if they are in a genuine Champions League hunt, they have to win this game because they've got Newcastle, Arsenal, Manchester City coming up. Fulham did win at St James's in their last game, so this is absolutely a winnable one for them. I just don't think they will protect their chances, and that's cost them in a few home games already this season. Manchester City against Newcastle, a crucial game in the top 4 race. Both these sides gunning for it. Manchester City lost 3-2 at home against Real Madrid because Pep Guardiola is an idiot. I don't care, man. The most overrated manager of all time. His changes are horrific. His style of football is so boring. What man in his right mind would bring on Mateo Kovacic and Ilkay Gundogan given their performances so far this season? It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking, especially when new signing, £60 million new signing, by the way, Nico Gonzalez is sitting there. He's just an idiot. Although Newcastle could suffer a bit because they did win the Carabao Cup tie, they won in the FA Cup. They're looking at that final. They might have their eyes off the league like they did last time they were in the Carabao Cup final a couple of years ago. They don't have a good record against Manchester City. At the Etihad especially, it's really bad. But if there's ever a time to beat Manchester City, it is now. I've gone with a 3-1 Newcastle win. Genuinely, I think Manchester City have two options here. They either try and go all out for Real Madrid by resting a few of their players here. Obviously, with that being said, Kusanov and Gonzalez probably have to play if they are going to be ready for that game. But Erling Haaland typically has really bad games against Newcastle. Although with that being said, both Dan Burn and Botman, the two players that usually deal with him really well, are both not 100% fit to play. But you're not going to get a better chance to not just beat Manchester City, but beat them away from home than this. And I hope Newcastle take it. Come on, Eddie Howe, my favourite manager in the world. Please beat that bold fraud. Southampton-Bournemouth, South Coast derby. It's a game that means a lot more for Bournemouth than it does for Southampton, which I think is really disappointing from a Southampton point of view, because if they took the rivalry a bit more seriously, they might actually get someone out of this game. I don't think it's going to be quite as one-sided as most people do though. Bournemouth have obviously been fantastic. They were really unlucky to lose to Liverpool last time. They were the better side. Van Dijk should have been sent off. Liverpool have got so many lucky decisions, but I'll make another video on them. They smashed Nottingham Forest 5-0, so Southampton shouldn't be a bother, right? For some reason, I think Southampton might get something. They did beat Ipswich last time out. You know, they usually get back-to-back results, I feel like. However, with that being said, I do think Bournemouth still win 3-1. I don't think it'll be like 5-0 like a lot of people think, but they should still have more than enough quality. So Semenyo's been really good. Kluivert, Otara both got hat-tricks recently. And they are a significantly better team than Southampton. Iraola's been playing some magnificent football. They should win. West Ham against Brentford, London derby. Now last year I banged this prediction. I don't know if I got the score right, but I did predict Jared Bowen to get a hat-trick. It was on my birthday. So I feel like if there isn't higher power up there, he just gave me a wish. You know what, this is a whole nother topic. But I think West Ham will win again. I've gone 3-1. Graham Potter has got West Ham playing much better football. Evan Ferguson's through the door. Tadibo, Paqueta could return to the lineup. West Ham have been doing it with the bare bones. For most of Graham Potter's short time at West Ham, they've had so many injuries and they're finally starting to get some players back. And I think Brentford shouldn't really be a challenge for them, if I'm going to be completely honest. They did win their last London derby away from home though, against Crystal Palace. And their away form has significantly picked up. Hopefully that ends here. Come on, you Irons. I think Evan Ferguson will score. Bowen will get a couple as well, probably. Crystal Palace against Everton. Two teams that have had a pick up in form. Palace over the last couple of months. Everton over the last few games since Moyes has come in. They're unbeaten in 4, 3 wins in that time. And Crystal Palace on a good run themselves as well. However, that is away from home. At home, they're still a bit shaky. They lost to Brentford. They got smashed by Arsenal. Everton won 1-0 in their last away game. I do think they'll win this one by a goal as well. I've gone 2-1 to Everton. This is mainly because I think they will defend really well. Palace do sometimes find it hard to break teams down. And Mateta up against probably the biggest defence in the league with 6'6" Branthwaite and Jake O'Brien. I think Tarkowski's only a little bit smaller than that. Mateta will have his toughest physical matchup in the league. And Everton are dangerous on the counters. Njai being injured is a real shame. Hopefully it's not serious. It looked quite bad. He was crying when he walked off the pitch as well, so hopefully he will be back soon. But Beto is in really good form. He has scored 3 goals in his last 2 home games. Hopefully we can see that translate to an away game. Obviously playing up against Lacroix and Gahey isn't easy, but I'm backing him to get a goal. Liverpool against Wolves. I think this is a pretty easy game to analyse, to be honest. Liverpool are going to win 3-0. They should be very comfortable. Cunha will be a threat. And he is the one guy you have to look out for. I think Strand Larsen would actually be quite good in this game, you know, because Konate isn't the most... Like, he looks like he should be more physically dominant than he is, if I'm honest. I've seen him get out of muscle quite a few times. So I feel like you get Strand Larsen on him, it's good, but he might be injured. You haven't played him so long, so I don't even know what's going on with him. Wolves are very dangerous on the counter-attacks, but Liverpool are just too good right now. Gravenberch, Mohamed Salah, like, you know, you have to take into account the fact that they might be a bit rattled off that Everton result. They drew 2-2, they're all complaining. They deserved to lose the game. They were by far second best. But for the manner it happened and the fight after, it was beautiful to watch, by the way. They could be a bit too rattled from that. Obviously, they're professional players. They should be able to overcome that, and that's why I think they'll win 3-0. But Wolves do have to make a fast start. If they do, they could get something. And Liverpool's next few games, Villa away, Manchester City away, and then Newcastle at home, in the space of the next week and a half. They don't have a lot of rest, and this is by far the easiest game in that run, so they have to win this. Because if they don't win here, it could really mentally destroy them. We saw it happen last season. And finally, El Sacco potentially, Tottenham, Manchester United, both of them have been atrocious. They're both mid-table teams right now, looking down the table rather than up, because they are much closer to the relegation zone than they are to the European places. I mean, Man United kind of have an excuse of new manager, completely different system. Like, I know Tottenham have injuries, but they've not been anywhere near good enough, although they did win their last game against Brentford. And they did beat Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford, and they are getting more players through the door. Brennan Johnson, Wilson Odebear could both be fit, as could Vicario and Udogie. I don't think Solanke's too far away. I don't know what's going on with Van de Ven and Romero. Like, I thought they were both meant to be back, and like, you know, Van de Ven played, Romero is back in training, and now they're both gone again. Like, I don't really know what's happened with them. Tottenham are leaky defensively, especially at home, but Man United don't score goals. So, do you know what I mean? Something's got to give there. And defensively, Man United are pretty decent, and obviously Tottenham are quite good going forward. Honestly, this could go either way. It's really hard to predict two teams that are as bad as they are. But I've gone with a 2-1 Tottenham win, mainly because they're at home. They did win at home last season against Manchester United, and they are unbeaten in the last 4 against them. Genuinely though, if Tottenham don't win here, Postecoglou has to go, man. There's no excuse. Spurs haven't won in their last 7 home league games, and they've lost some of those embarrassingly. How can you lose to Leicester City at home, bro? They were on a 7-game winless run. They won a 7-game, no, not even a winless run. They won a 7-game losing run, and you lost. How did he not get sacked after that? That's incredible. But really, he's not going to get sacked, is he, man? I'm not even a Tottenham fan, and I desperately want him gone because he is fucking awful. You know it's bad when every other rival is so gassed that he's still there, man. He is such a bad manager. They didn't back Conte, they didn't back Mourinho, they didn't even back Poch properly, but they're backing this guy. Why? Oh, those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.